Royal glory or business as usual. Nobody's quite sure what happens when your daughter becomes queen. But it appears that Carole and Michael Middleton are going to find out. When Princess Catherine first began dating Prince William, royal traditionalists were aghast. Although she was smart, beautiful, and well-liked by her peers, Catherine wasn't viewed as a suitable match for the future king. The problem? Her parents, Carole and Michael Middleton, were members of the middle class. The British tabloid media was quick to disparage the Middletons for their relatively humble roots. Writing for The Mirror in 2007, royal correspondent James Whittaker wrote, "I just believe that evolving from a middle-class background is hardly the best training to becoming Her Majesty." Despite this initial pushback, the Middletons have become an essential part of William and Catherine's support system. Since their daughter married William, Carole and Michael have embraced the royal family's never complain, never explain policy. And following Princess Catherine's cancer diagnosis in 2024, the Middletons have been supporting their daughter, spending time with Prince William, and helping out with their grandchildren.
They are very much there in the background. They are absolutely fundamental.
So what will happen to them when William becomes king and Catherine his consort? Whether or not Carole and Michael Middleton will receive a title when Prince William and Princess Catherine take the throne is unclear. However, there are a number of royal fans who would like to see the Middletons honored when their daughter becomes queen consort. Unlike other royal in-laws, Carole and Michael have faced a great deal of media criticism in recent years. Carole in particular has suffered one humiliation after the other, as the tabloids painted her as a strategic social climber who plotted William and Catherine's meet-cute. To add insult to injury, Carole's mother, Dorothy Goldsmith, was also disparaged in the press as status-obsessed. Despite this, Carole and Michael have managed to hold their heads high and continue to support the crown in their own way. In a piece for the Daily Mail, royal correspondent Richard Eden argued that Carole and Michael should be given titles to recognize the work they have silently done for the monarchy. He wrote, "I believe it's time that Carole and Michael, she a former air hostess, and he a one-time flight dispatcher, should be given titles reflecting their importance." As British businessman Sir John Majeski reportedly told Eden, "They should be the Earl and Countess of Bucklebury or something. They deserve it. They are great people and really good role models." Although many royal fans would like to see Carole and Michael Middleton honored with a title, experts say that this probably won't happen. Royal correspondent Danielle Stacey told Hello magazine, "It's very unlikely that Carole and Michael Middleton will be given titles, despite being the parents of a queen consort. And this is all down to the rules around peerage titles. A dukedom is a hereditary noble title, which is the highest rank of peerage in Britain, and titles can be passed down from a parent or granted by the present reigning monarch. In other words, British titles are usually kept within a family, and it would be highly unusual for middle-class people, such as Carole and Michael, to be suddenly granted an earldom or a duchy. What's more, other queen consorts haven't had their own families receive any titles due to their royal connections. In fact, even Camilla's own children weren't granted any titles following King Charles III's coronation. This means that they are both commoners, despite the fact that their mother is queen consort. Unfortunately for fans of Carole and Michael, historical precedent indicates that the couple probably won't become Earl and Countess of Bucklebury anytime soon. Back in the monarchy's heyday, royal families were huge, both figuratively and literally. It was common to see a king and queen have large broods of children, all of whom would receive prince and princess titles. These children would often go on to wed princes and princesses from other European royal families, creating a network of high-ranked relatives across the continent.
Hail to the king, baby.
In 2024, however, this model is long gone, and the royal family is trying hard to adjust to the times. Long before he even took the crown, King Charles III supported the idea of a slimmed-down monarchy, in which fewer royals would be given titles. Prince William is largely believed to support this idea. Given this dynamic, it seems likely that William will try to reduce the number of titles and privileges granted during his reign. Because of this, Carole and Michael Middleton probably won't come into an earldom or duchy, no matter how much the prince might like them. Carole and Michael Middleton might seem deserving of an aristocratic title, but it's worth remembering they haven't lived a totally unblemished life. In 2023, Princess Catherine's parents faced tragedy when their business, Party Pieces, failed, leaving behind hundreds of thousands of pounds of debt. One report in the Daily Mail even alleged that Carole and Michael's debts totaled £2.6 million. a staggering number considering the couple's middle-class background.
I just can't get these numbers to add up.
It's like we're never gonna get out of this hole.
Of course, the business's sudden downturn wasn't necessarily Carole and Michael's fault. A friend of the family told the Daily Mail. The truth is, Carole had stepped back from the business over 3 years ago, trusting the day-to-day running to a new management team. Sadly, the business took a turn for the worse, and by the time she realized, it was just too late. Even so, Carole and Michael might not be able to receive any titles due to their precarious financial situation. It certainly wouldn't be constructive for anyone to believe that the crown might bail the Middletons out, especially as they courted controversy during the pandemic for accepting a relief loan sourced from public money. At the end of the day, Carole and Michael Middleton bring a lot of value to the royal family. Their contributions have less to do with their finances, however, and more to do with the sense of normality they provide to the Wales family. From the earliest days of Prince William and Princess Catherine's courtship, Carole and Michael were there to give the couple a much-needed taste of middle-class life. In the documentary, William and Harry, Brothers in Arms, royal expert Ashley Pearson explained, feeling part of that close, tight-knit, very British family was the first time in his life that he'd had that experience, and for William, it was entirely intoxicating. Since then, Carole and Michael have given that same sense of normality to William and Catherine's 3 children. In conversation with Good Housekeeping, Carole described her grandparenting strategy in relatively informal terms, saying, "I cook with them, I muck around dancing, we go on bike rides." It might make sense then for Carole and Michael to keep their position when Catherine becomes queen consort, if for no other reason than to give the royal family a much-needed common touch.